Hey everybody, it's Waterman. Before we get to the episode, we just wanted to take a moment to let you know about the Mosaic Learning Architect Academy, hosted by Izzy and Nicole. I'll let Nicole give you all the details, then we'll jump right into the episode.
Hey there, teachers. Take your teaching practice to the next level with the Mosaic Learning Architect Academy. Our 4-day in-person learning experience is designed to help you create engaging, student-centered lessons that are aligned with the latest research and best practices. With Mosaic instructional planning, you'll receive support for each day's activities and long-term planning success. Our system is designed to help you create lessons that are not only effective, but also fun and engaging for your students. We believe that learning should be experiential and hands-on. That's why our academy is designed to be interactive, with plenty of opportunities for you to try out new teaching strategies and techniques. But the real magic of the Mosaic Learning Architect Academy is the community you'll join. You'll be part of a network of passionate educators from all over the world, sharing ideas, collaborating on projects, and building relationships that will last long after the academy ends. And when you complete the academy, you'll earn certification as a Mosaic Learning Architect, demonstrating your mastery of the latest teaching strategies and techniques. Join us today. Register at the link in our bio.
Welcome to the only brother-sister podcast built for teachers, by teachers, Dumplings Over Flowers.
I'm the sister, Nicole.
And I'm the brother, Izzy.
And this podcast is here to take you on a backstage tour of our combined 50 years of experience teaching so that we can help you recognize and celebrate substance over appearance.
Or dumplings over
flowers.
Yeah. Well, Waterman, spin the wheel.
Greetings from the great state of Texas. Just kidding.
No, that's my line.
Yeah, I'm hi from New York.
I was going to say, I was waiting to hear Tennessee. I thought you were on location in Dollywood or
Doing a little cosplay. I'm at DollyCon. Oh my God. Who would you be at DollyCon?
Dolly. Oh, I think
I'd
you're
be
on
9
to
to
something.
5 Dolly. Done.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be.
No, you wouldn't. I know who you'd be. I know who you'd have to be.
Ooh. Ooh. Glenn Campbell?
Close, I guess.
Who's it? I
You'd
don't
have
know.
to be Kenny
Dolly's
Rogers,
contemporary.
and we'd have to sing "Islands in the Stream." So,
Obviously.
and this is why I don't invite you to
all right.
DollyCon. Right there.
Thank God. So yeah,
Hmm.
anywho, here we are. Podcast number 57.
100.
Yeah. And well, let's see about the topic. Waterman, what do we got?
Mama G.
Mama G.
Very nice.
Wow.
Not
Wow. I don't know whose story this
No,
would
this is-
be, but
this
I
is
guess
everybody's story in a way.
That's okay.
First, I'll say it's not our mother.
Well, you're right. Well, it could
Technically.
be with the last name.
I know.
And that's funny. Made me think of something.
No,
and
no,
I'll tell
you
what
go.
I thought
You
of.
go, please.
It'll fit better later. So it's not our mother. That's the start.
What would Dolly do? She'd let you tell a story.
It's true, but I don't want to
Okay,
tell
so
a story
Mama G
yet. I want you to tell the
is
story.
our community organizer, parent, rep person, liaison.
Yeah.
In one of the schools that we have worked in for a long time. We haven't worked there in a couple of years now, but we worked there for a while. And we're very intimately involved there. We were in all the classes. We were there multiple times a week. I think Izzy was even getting health insurance at one point.
No, but I would.
That's the only thing we didn't get. We were at all the staff meetings and
Sure.
birthday parties and baby showers, and we were pretty much always there. And happily, mainly because of all of the staff there, it was really awesome, and because of the environment and the culture and the tone and the kids. I remember the first time I ever walked into that building, I could not believe what I saw in my eyes in the South Bronx. Kids were walking down the hallway, completely silent middle school children, on one side of the hallway,
Mhm.
past a class of like physics students from the high school, doing experiments, shooting cars down the hallway. And I'm like, what?
Mhm.
How is this happening? And then I saw
Mhm.
someone else down the hallway pushing a cart, um, always delivering something, bringing somebody something, giving something out, making sure people had what they needed, food, smoothie. At one point, the cart was a smoothie station.
Oh, the
Yeah.
smoothie bar.
Whatever you needed, a
Yes.
hug, a reprimand, tucking in kids' shirts, whatever needed to be done.
Everyone's mother, who introduced herself as
Mama G.
that's it. I do not know her name, first or last. No clue, nor I guess would anybody. But you're right. So Mama G was the really in the morning. So you got to see classes or like your first blush. Mine was first time in the building was just before school started. Kids piling in different classes, and in New York City, the school buildings they often are shared spaces. So there's three schools inside that
Mhm.
same building, and um, looking over her population, if you will, and her school and those kids was Mama G. She was the epitome of a mother
Yeah,
hen, if you will,
definitely.
making sure that there was not just a good smile on her face, but if she had to turn that smile upside down and go and make sure that she regulated some situations and made kids feel um, at ease, comfortable, de-stressed, etc., or just get them out of harm's way, she was right in the
Mothered.
middle of that.
She made
Really,
everybody
really.
feel mothered, including us. Including us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
S
And a
Yeah.
young staff too. The very young staff at the time, and to kind of have somebody in the community that had no reason other than the want and the love for kids and her community to continue to be there. She didn't have a skin in the game. She wasn't a teacher. She wasn't even a parent of a student in the school that had come and passed. But she had been so ingrained, and that legacy was being left there, and that's kind of what it reminded me
Mm.
of right away. And that was my part of the story, including the fact that my students used to call me G or Mr. G or some version of that, and that legacy piece. We're talking about her. We haven't seen her or heard from her since
Mhm.
2019, and we're talking about her today. It's a topic that was on our made our
Yeah.
list, right? So obviously, we're talking about 33 years later for me in education, and in a list of 35 topics, Mama G is one of them, right? How is that possible? What is that all about? What are the little things? What are the big things? But what are the not really important? I forgot about the smoothies because that was cool and interesting, but you remembered that. And I remember her now. Now the story floods in terms of her being after school, and she would bring the teachers the smoothies. It was like
Yeah.
a little
Yeah, it
boost,
was,
like, hey,
they were she would
home.
know which kind you needed, like, "You're tired? Have this one. You have a cold? Have this one." It was yeah.
Yeah, it was thoughtful. It was thoughtful, and so what is the little things? What are the big things? I got, and ironically and very happily, I received a notification or a Facebook Messenger, and I'll skip a lot of what was written in the first place, and I'll go to the letter that was shared with me, um, and that was written on her a kid's behalf. So it starts out, "Hey, Mr. G," how funny is that, right? Exclamation mark. I know this is out of the blue, but I wanted to share something with you. 30 years ago,
Zoinks!
um, I was I was in your sixth grade class, and now I'm a mom of a fifth grader. And the past 2 weeks she's been excitedly telling me about her teacher reading to them The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I was flooded with some of my favorite memories of you reading to us. Can you imagine?
Yes.
but still. And this lady, this now mom of a fifth grader, shares with me the letter that she wrote to her student's teacher, her kid's teacher.
Oh, that's so
And I
nice.
definitely, right? And I want to read it here because, um, the power of impact and the
It's true.
power of legacy is just huge. And she wrote so eloquently, and apparently her daughter's name is Willow. Willow's been talking about how you've been reading The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe for the past few weeks. Since you finished the book today, we watched the movie tonight. Like many in my generation, I grew up loving that book and series and have encouraged my daughter to read them for a long while. She wouldn't. Now she's going to read all of them, but she'll have to read them before I let her watch the next movie, LOL. More importantly, I want to say thank you for taking the time to read this kind of book to them. My absolute favorite teacher was Mr. Galante, my sixth grade teacher. Right? Hello. Going to a small school, and our sixth grade was actually our last year of elementary. Mr. Galante would read to us during recess, which I now realize was his only break during the day. When we couldn't go outside or because of the weather or something like that, he would take us to an empty kindergarten classroom where he would read to us on, we would all sit on little plastic chairs, feeling like grown-ups, with the lights turned down, our heads on the desks, and just listening to the stories. He read us Flowers for Algernon, where we all fell in love with a mouse. Bridge to Terabithia, where we all sheepishly had our sniffles and tears, hid our sniffles and tears, and The Secret of Nim, and we all believed that a little crack in our classroom was a magical getaway. In case you couldn't tell, these were some of my fondest memories, although allowing us, sorry, to keep a little of the imagination and importance before being in the forefront of importance before being tossed to the wolves of regents and
Aw.
AP classes. So thank you, teacher, for taking care of these kiddos on their last step in the bubble of elementary school and for preparing them for success as they grow more independent. Right?
Guy. Yeah,
Pretty
that's
awesome.
amazing.
Talk about time. We actually have a special guest in the studio, and that's Waterman's wife. And she chose by random Mama G as the topic for this. And had no clue about any of the background or anything
When did
like that. So I
Waterman get a
really
wife?
I we're still the jury's still
Hmm.
out on that. I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out
Yeah,
later.
he's
But it
like
was
our own little
recent.
beard over here.
I know. He is beard. He is beard. Love it. Anywho, so obviously I wanted to share that and point at myself
Course, of
for being
course.
great.
Who's gonna, you
Clearly.
know?
Uh, yeah, right. If
Right.
not me, who? Um, but just think about that. This is a person who, thanks to
This is like
technology,
a
because there's a
legacy
couple,
inception. She
right? I've mentioned
she
I've mentioned my boy a few times, Mr. Amato. But I still haven't been able to connect and contact. But just think about taking the time 30 years later to see something in your kid, right? Because teaching, even through the maturation of the whole process and how it's changed and evolved and hybrid and remote and technology and all the stuff, it comes down to two things: the love of what they're doing,
Mhm.
teachers. This is the most impactful stuff on kids, and the belief that they can do it and push it forward. And and so to see that in your
The
kid
belief
then
that
as they get older,
the students can do it,
it's
right?
huge.
Not that they can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in a yes, this survey that I've mentioned for years that I have no idea where the stats come from. But the top two pieces of information or the top two answers
On the board.
that came through yeah, as what made up your best teacher, your fondest memories around your best teacher, and those were the two things. They loved what they did, and they believed in me. They believed that I can do it. Um, and so no matter how evolved the profession has come, when you walk into a room, when you walk into a school, the consistency of a Mama
Mm-hmm.
G, the love and care and oversight of a Mama G, the the legacy piece behind setting up and just taking your time. I didn't even think of it that way, that my only break was, whatever and all that stuff. But just to hear it from a new perspective is pretty incredible.
That is
Um,
awesome. So awesome. And it's
it was really
obviously very similar. I have the same story as that woman about you, right? Like Rats of Nim, you changed some lives with that reading, that dramatic reading. You were on your game. Lord.
I mean, you know, I,
Did you
I've got
practice?
some
I picture
throat
you
damage.
like,
Um,
gargling or something.
yeah. Oh yeah. Voice watermelon,
Yeah.
watermelon.
Let's get out of here,
Just getting
guys.
prepped.
Let's get out of here, guys. Honing your craft. I don't know, but I love it.
Practices moves in my cage. Yeah, I will do a
Oh my
chapter.
gosh, bonus
So let me go
content.
get
I
the
love
book.
that. I love that. And I would listen to it over and over.
Um,
But yeah, no, super
yeah, and if you look
inspiring.
in the well, thank you. But really quick, if you go to our Instagram page, Dumplings Pod, and you check the link, there's a dramatic reading of chapter 4 of The Rats of Nim by me.
Chapter
Check it out.
4,
It's good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
Turning
called
Point.
uh, The
No, it's
Turning Point.
not. Don't lie to the
I have
peoples.
no idea.
So I want to flip what you're talking about a tiny bit, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about the countless letters. I'm thinking about the storage unit where I keep all my letters from former students and going
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
file in my brain. But I really was thinking
Sure.
about one of my former students, and it made me think about the ways that students, if we let them, can leave their legacy imprinted on us as well. And
Mhm.
and
The
sometimes
flip.
that's bad. I mean, how many times, like, I see memes all the time, like, being a teacher, teaching is the only job that ruins my future kids' names, for me. And I mean, there are some names that I would yeah,
Albeit
no,
true, albeit
yeah,
true.
yep.
Yeah. It's not the tone we wanna take, it's the tone we have to take.
However, there are
Go on.
certain things. I mean, as you were talking, it was reminding me of something that Ken Lindblom, my dissertation advisor,
Kenny.
mentor, friend, fantastic professor, and at one
Mhm.
point, my boss told me. He said, when you are going through your emails, and you get a nice one like that, save it in a folder and call it nice notes. And I just saw it in my Gmail the other day, nice notes. And I went, oh, you know what? Let me look in there, because it's really, really nice to look back and see those things, those little notes from students.
Mhm.
And, I always had my students make a like scrapbook of, the cards that their kids gave them. And, when they were student teaching, sometimes they got little gifts and notes and letters. And you can just look at those moments and know, like, hey, when you're feeling like you really need it, keep those in a drawer in your desk. When it's, 3 o'clock and raining and you had
Yep.
a rough day, you can look at all
Mm.
those nice notes and feel good. Um, and I
Yeah.
love that idea. So I feel
No, I
like
love
that's a really good practical thing to do. But I
Yeah.
was also reminded of the way that students leave their legacy on us, sometimes more so than we do on
Yeah.
them, even when we're really intentional
Mhm.
about it. So I had a kid who was, I always had classes that were a little, needed some love and some special
Right.
care and attention. And I was thrilled to have each and every one of those kids. And I had a boy who was an amazing, sweet, wonderful person who was having real trouble getting past English and the high school experience. And, he was an adult at this point, and it was like he needed this one
Mm.
test to pass and to get out and whatever and graduate. And I said, the year before, it was the end of the year, and I had written something for somebody, like a letter or something. And he said, when I graduate, I want to get a letter. And I said, okay. So his whole senior year, I'm like, come on, you're going to get your letter. And he, we said it on and off. I forgot it, remembered, forgot, like that. And then graduation, literally at graduation, he's graduating. And I went, the letter. So I ran inside off the football field. I wasn't on the dais, thank God. And I ran inside and I wrote him a letter and I came out, crying and whatever. And that kid has 2 years later comes back to the school to visit. Hi, my favorite teacher, whatever. He's decided he's going to go to community college and he doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to enroll. He doesn't know how to whatever. And can I take him? So I'm like, of course I can. Yeah, that's amazing. Let's talk about what you want to do. Whatever the day comes, I get in his car. He's like, I'll drive you. He was like all excited to drive me. I'm like, okay. I get in his, tinted windowed, whatever he had. I don't know, some cool car. And he opens the glove box so now I'm nervous. Like he's reaching across the seat. I'm like, why did I get in the car? But he opens the glove box. There's my letter. And he goes, I drive around with this and I've had it in here and I look at it every time I go to work because I know I'm saving to go to college so that you can write me another letter. And
yeah. Okay, so I'm not crying. You're crying. Did you write him a letter in college, or
Of course I did.
Oh, nice.
Are you kidding? That's when I was young and like following through with things and like being a good person and stuff.
Yeah.
No, of course I did. And
rose glasses on. You got in a car with a student.
No, he wasn't a student. It was 2 years graduated. Stop.
I mean, Bill, go on.
Former student.
So safety tip for those young educators out there.
I know. That would have been a very different legacy, but how great is that?
Well, what's timely?
And to him, like, of course, that's a great thing to do and whatever. And like, ha ha ha, I forgot to do it until that night. It wasn't any less heartfelt or anything. It was just a moment in time that came out, and it was inspiring for him, motivating for him, inspiring for me. But I've never forgot that. And even just the idea of like, did you write him another one? Yeah, I followed through. And I always will because I always remember what that meant to him, So.
Absolutely.
If you go to our Instagram, there's a link for your personal letter request. No.
Why you got to try to why do your jokes have to be my jokes? Like, can't you?
Because I got a huge laugh in the background there from Mrs. Waterman.
Well,
just saying.
Waterman himself, but
oh, was it? Okay, sorry, Waterman.
So, yes, and I also, I have. Thankfully, there's many a story that we can pull out. Getting in the car with a student did remind me of a certain baseball game.
Oh, good Lord, that is not for today.
We won't go down that road. But also
you're allowed to get in the car when the parents are in it. Little teaser for that episode.
And the my Sarah Esposito, shout out to Sarah, who was a deaf student, and it made me change my way of delivering information and my proximity in the classroom and where I had to stand and how I had to. And I've shared this before in a public setting, and but never on the podcast, that there was even a piece of resentment for a minute when her class would come in, and I'd be like, oh, for God, I have to stand in front of the room so she can see, and because she was phenomenal at reading lips, thankfully, and the straight A students, and a monster still in the field, and helping teachers, helping people in, with sign language and with, all kinds of inequities and so on in around deafness and so on and so forth. Just an awesome human being. And I'm thinking to myself, every time I hate myself for even momentarily being put out that I have to stand in the front of the room because it's not my style. To realize that, to talk about the first step in empathy, the fact that she had to ask me to do that and that was a requirement, not because it was some sort of, scripted IEP. It was because it was the only way for her. And for her to overcome everything she did, and for me to even like remotely think that was an annoyance, is,
Yeah, that's
is
a
pretty damn on my part.
different kind of legacy
But
there.
to be
Yeah, like you
truthful,
can use.
yeah, but it was the first step in me recognizing that this wasn't about me.
Yeah.
And 'cause that was early, very early in my career. Funny enough, probably in that same class, 30 years ago, as that other girl,
Oh,
if I'm not
really?
mistaken. Uh, yeah,
That
which is pretty
is.
interesting. Um, yeah, but let's just say it was for sure, because that would make for a
Yeah, it
better
totally was.
story
I
and a
remember
better,
that.
right? 92, right? Yeah, exactly. But anyway, the point is this. One, with conscious or unconsciously, we are leaving a mark, good, bad, or otherwise. One of them.
Sometimes what you need to do is accept the fact that depending on your crowd, right, you could be leaving all three of those things, a good one, a bad one, and an ugly one at the same time. Somebody else in that class
Mhm.
might have said, "Wow, that book scarred me for life. The Wrath of
I
Man,"
hate
and like, "I never picked up a book
that.
again, and I was scared of cracks my whole life." Whereas,
Right.
but I think that that's also part of the territory as well, and maybe an important thing to be aware of, that you're not sometimes it's seen, sometimes it's unseen, sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it's 2 years later, bring me to community college to register. Sometimes it's 30 years later with
Yeah.
my own daughter, I saw, this. But whatever is happening now, it has the butterfly effect, the ripple effect that will affect
Yeah. You
later.
do hear echo in eternity, as the great Marcus Aurelius
What?
said. Yeah. What's
Oh,
done
are
today
you
will
quoting
echo in eternity.
Gladiator?
Yes. Good. Good. That's a good catch by you, having not
Yes,
ever
I
seen the
have, I
movie.
just didn't like it.
Um, Point is legacy, right? Good old Mama G. Hope she's doing well somewhere. The kids, I love what you just said though. The same thing that could bring such joy also might, bring some pain, bring up some trauma. One of my go-to books was The Great Gilly Hopkins, and it's about a foster, child in the system. And that could bring up some trauma. And what's great is those books are, fully vetted out already to kind of handle that
I
scenario
guess.
or paint the right kind of picture. But you never know, right? So timely enough, Waterman just put in a link,
Poor one.
some
He's working his fingers to
literature
the
around
bone on those
trauma.
links.
And, yeah. And top 10
There's a
trauma
link to the
books. And
links on the link.
yeah. So that's all not true, studio audience, and listening audience. However, if you do want more information about any of this stuff, um, check us out at dumplingspond.com and drop us a line, and we'll make sure that we address some of these things even offline. And that's a for real, because these are topics and things that come up that we sometimes make light of and really have fun with, but sometimes they're very serious situations, and we also have unfortunate stories around very serious situations where teaching, it transcends the content in the classroom, and having to deal with that are difficult things, and not necessarily always topics for podcast fodder, but are things that exist that maybe you need some thoughts and some coaching on. So we definitely would want to be available for that type of experience with you, the
And
listening
if any of our
audience.
former students are out there and want to tell us how much they love us, we always welcome that too.
Yes.
Did we change your
Yes.
life? Click the link in our bio.
Right. That's right. Drop us a line. Well, that's that from Mama G.
Hope
Until
she's
next
doing well.
time. Yeah, happy planning.
Hey everybody, this is the unseen but ever-present Waterman. Thank you for listening to Dumplings Over Flowers. Our current plan is to have new episodes every other week, so be sure to subscribe to the show on YouTube or follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube or on social by searching Dumplings Over Flowers or @DumplingsPod. That's @DumplingsPod. Also, don't be afraid to leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Your comments, questions, or stories may very well inspire the conversation in our next episode. If you would like to know more about our cloud-based lesson planning platform, you can visit mosaicip.com. And if you're interested in signing up for the Mosaic Learning Architect Academy, you can get more information and register online at mosaicip.com/MLA. That's mosaicip.com/MLA. Once again, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.